Welcome to episode 41 of the Rise Fitness Nutrition Podcast. I am your host, Carlo. Today, I want to talk to you about a simple concept, how a small change can make a huge impact in the long term, but the real question is, how can you make the small choices easier or effortless to help you to reach your goals? You'll find this interesting. Happy listening! Okay, so you have tried them all and it really looks like it's not working. You have decided to start the healthy diet or you decide to start to change your nutrition from Monday, and then Monday comes and you start. Tuesday is okay, Wednesday is fine, say the first week is okay, but then things start to be a little bit too complex, life gets in the way, it's difficult to make the right choices because they require some effort. So what can you do to make the right nutrition choices easy? Or, even better, how can you make those effortless? Or at least they require the least amount of effort for you to basically stick to them. Finding a way to make the right choices effortless is a big game changer because ultimately it will make it for you possible to keep on sticking to your nutrition plan, to your training plan, to whatever plan you have to reach your goal, and it will be a lot less stressful. Because let's be honest, you and I are humans, and we are not perfect, and that's fine. There's no perfection in this. But the thing is that sometimes things do get complex, things do get overwhelming, so at times it's difficult to stick with the right choice because it requires really a lot of effort. And today I'm here to help, trying to find solutions to make these things much easier. Now, to do so, I want to introduce a simple concept. We're gonna talk about nudges. If you're not familiar what a nudge is, to make it very simple, a nudge is a gentle push, nothing else. Very simple. It's a gentle push. Sometimes it's a push to have you start something, sometimes it's a push to catch your attention, but still, a nudge, as it is a very simple thing. Again, a push. Now, we're using this concept because it is widely used to understand and studying human behavior and the way we behave around things in our environment and towards things. And you see nudges all day, every day, constantly. It's just that we do not notice them. If they are made the right way, you will not notice a nudge, but you will unconsciously follow a nudge. Let me give you a very simple example. The white line in the middle of the road is a nudge. It's a nudge that tells you that you have to stay in the right side of the lane according to the country you are driving in, for once. Or now, if we're talking about COVID times, a nudge is the little sticker on the floor that reminds you to keep social distance. And you follow that unconsciously. So that's a nudge that reminds you or pushes you to keep social distance. So those are just very simple examples of what a nudge is, but we see them digitally as well. Every time you open an app that prompts you to tap on something or to do something or to make an action in order to have something happen, well, that's a nudge. And of course, you might be thinking, well, that's obvious. Of course it is. But the point is, it's obvious because these nudges were made in a way to make them obvious. Try to imagine a world without nudges. I think they would be lost. In a lot of different ways. In good ways, in bad ways. Nudges are there to kind of keep everything in place. Right? Now let's go a little bit deeper. A nudge will not force any behavior change, but a nudge, if well done, will influence the behavior and will make the choice feel natural, as it should be. So that's a very important key concept. And in a way, if you think about this, when you move the nudges in the perspective of nutrition, training, and body composition goals or body transformation goals, a nudge is a way to make laziness your ally. Because making the right choice sometimes requires mental or physical effort, which the first few times is okay, but then when you're tired, it requires the energy that you might not have. So a good nudge will make this lack of energy, this tiredness, this laziness, your ally by making the choices natural, almost automatic, almost implied, effortless. So yes, a nudge is a push, but a nudge is also an influence on your behavior to show a different way to present choices. Now we need to understand a little bit more on how our brain works in a very simple way. To make the right decision, the easy one, we had to understand that our brain takes decisions, say very simplified, using two separate systems. We have the reflective system, that is the slow, thoughtful, deliberative system. Most of the time when we're talking about fitness and nutrition, this is the system that perfectly knows which things are good for us and perfectly know the right choices. In a way, it's kind of a logical system. This system knows that if you want to lose weight, you have to eat in, surprise, surprise, calorie deficit. And then, on the other hand, we have the automatic system, which is fast. It's more like an autopilot that reacts on the moment. To give you an example of this automatic pilot, think about this. Did it ever happen to you, maybe you were walking around on the bicycle or you were driving around and you were supposed to go from point A to point B, and all of a sudden you realize you're already at point B, but you don't remember anything about the way you took to go there, but your brain automatically took you there. So this is kind of what I mean when I say automatic autopilot system. So when we think about choices, now you can understand how these two systems influence your daily choices. The reflective system knows that you should eat in calorie deficit, that you should eat your protein, your veggies, and your carbohydrates in the right quantities. But then there's the automatic system that sees chocolate on the shelf or sees like a cake, and this system automatically grabs it because cakes are delicious. Hell, how can you say, no, that's true, cakes are delicious? But you are 100% sure that maybe you shouldn't eat cake every day, every meal. But it's right there. It's automatic to have it because it's in sight. See what I'm getting to? The issue when making the right choices happens when the reflective system and the automatic system clash. And in this situation, the automatic system is faster. So whichever decision you're going to take, mostly probably is the easiest one, effortless, the automatic one. So if you have a piece of cake right there on the desk or a cookie, or you have a soda or a frappuccino, you name it, it's right there. So your brain knows that you shouldn't have it because you already had one or two what's not. But it's right there, so you're gonna take it. These systems are clashing. The reflective system is slow in making the right decision. The automatic system is already on duty. And this also applies to, for example, working out, because working out requires the effort to go out of your place, go to the gym, change clothes, do your workout, and then go back home. And oh man, this requires a lot of energy. So if you have a choice, you're sitting on a couch watching Netflix, maybe a few episodes of Squid Game, your reflective system knocks on the door and tells you, hey, it's time to go to the gym, let's pack the bag and go, because you know this is good for you. But the automatic system is like, I'm on the sofa, I'm already here, I might as well just keep on watching Squid Game, I might go to the gym later. And then later becomes tomorrow. And then maybe tomorrow there's something else, so tomorrow becomes the day after, so on and so forth. But how can you change this to your advantage? How can you make the automatic system be your ally in making the right choices? There you go. You need to use nudges at your own advantage. And let me give you a few examples to help you understand what things you can change in your environment, in your daily routine, to make so that the hard choices are actually the easy automatic choices, and then the quote-unquote bad choices are much harder to do because they require an effort. Now, here is an easy example. If you eat a lot of snacks during the day and you are fully aware that having all of those snacks is not good for you, but in a way you feel like you can't stop having them, here is the nudge. Put the snacks away from your sight. And that's super simple. Take all your snacks, take all the candies, all the chips and what's not, and put them in a closed shelf. And maybe put them in a shelf that is a little bit harder to reach, either because it's really low in the kitchen or it's really high and that requires you to do more than one step to go there and get the snacks. And I assure you that the moment that you feel like you want a snack, but you don't see them, the automatic system will kick in and tell you, okay, that's fine, we can have something later. And that's because those things are not automatically in sight. Take my example. I like chocolate and I have plenty of chocolate in my apartment. I have an overwhelming amount of chocolate. And to give you an example, I went back to Italy and I came back to Japan with 13 kilos of chocolate in my suitcase. And that's a lot. And I live by myself. So what did I do? I put the chocolate in a drawer that really makes me want it if I want it, because I had to go there, kneel down, open a drawer, start digging, and get the chocolate. Or every morning I have oatmeal with chocolate, with a couple of cubes of chocolate, but those cubes of chocolate are nowhere to be seen. Those are in the fridge in a drawer. So that even if I open the fridge to take some water, I don't see the chocolate, therefore I don't eat it. It's in a drawer. Therefore, for me, it's functional to my breakfast. It's not an automatic choice, but I had to think about it. I had to do more than one action. Open a fridge, open a drawer, take the chocolate, and eat that. And that requires a lot of energy in a way. You know what I mean? So if you have a snacking issue, put those snacks away. And if you don't feel like you should have snacks in your apartment, give them away. In the very worst case scenario, throw them away. I know that's a waste. Still, if you are the kind of person who understands that you have a problem with snacking, you know what to do. Hide them away, give them away, dispose them. But that's the thing. You make seeing snacks not automatic anymore, therefore you're gonna have plenty less, and I guarantee that. If you have problems in the kitchen measuring your food because, oh man, I had to take out the scale, put the scale, measure the food, oh my god, so much, do as I do. My scale in the kitchen is in plain sight. It's not in the way, but it's right there. So when I go to my kitchen counter to prepare my food, it's automatic for me to take the scale, put it there, and measure my food. And I know that this might sound like, whoa, that's groundbreaking, but it's really that simple. You want to make your laziness your ally. You want to make it so that the laziness to go open a drawer, take the scale, put the scale, measure the food, it's unbearable, but you want to make it so that that laziness is your ally. The scale is there, put it there, measure the food, count the macronutrients and the calories, done. If you have problems getting the quote-unquote motivation to stand up from the couch and go to the gym, and you know that you're sitting on the couch looking at the TV or the computer or it's not, here is another simple nudge. Put your gym bag in plain sight. And that's what I do for me as well. My gym bag is right next to my shelf in the living room. And every time I walk in front of it, I have a constant reminder that, hey, you gotta go to the gym, man. You gotta go and lift your weights. Now, I am a different person because I really like lifting weights. So for me not to go to the gym is really something incredible because I like that. So it really makes me feel good. But if you know that you had to do it, but in a way for you it's kind of a pain, which is absolutely fine, make it so, give yourself a nudge, make it automatic. Put the gym clothing somewhere in plain sight as a constant reminder. So that becomes easy for you to overcome the quote-unquote obstacle or like packing the bag and go to the gym. Or if you feel like it's super stressful to finish working, go back home, take the gym bag and go to the gym, because it requires a lot of time, which is absolutely true, do one thing. Go to the office with your gym clothes in your backpack. Maybe your backpack will be a little bit heavier, unfortunately, but your gym clothes will be there with you already. So when you leave your office, you realize, my backpack is a little heavier. Right, I have my gym clothes. Perfect, I'm going to the gym. See what I mean? I mean that when you can channel your laziness, you can really accomplish anything. And the easier you make these nudges to channel your laziness or to make your automatic system do the right choices automatically for you, your goals are going to be much closer, because this ultimately will help your consistency. See, this is not a perfect process. It takes trial and error, it takes adjustment. But the thing is, whichever your goal is, think about the long term. Now, the long term might be a little bit of a reflective system thing. Oh, it's really far away in time, it's okay, whatever. But the long term starts today. You start today to reach your long term. And today is the automatic system choices that make the difference. And you might realize that some of those things you were doing them already unconsciously. And here is the key word, unconsciously, automatically. So if you were doing those things in a way, you were already nudging yourself. So keep it going. And if you have never tried, try it today. Trust me, it's foolproof and it will yield results. One last thing I want to say is that something is always better than nothing. So even if you do one of those small changes today, it will lead to an enormous big change in the long term. So don't be scared to do something even small. Don't feel like something small is not useful. Something small is very useful. Got it? And that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening all the way here. I really appreciate your support. If you like this podcast, I will also love if you could share this on your Instagram channel and tag me at thecarl.fit and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Other than that, I hope that you found this episode insightful, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a happy rest of the week.